There it goes.
Can you see me?
It's like I'm switching cameras back and forth.
Okay.
Like, that's distracting. Learning how to do that.
I love you can see. It's like,
You look great. We have to sync the audio. Hello and welcome to the Make Jax Weird podcast, episode whichever one this is. I think it might be 4. And my guest today is Toni Hernandez Brown.
it's just Toni Hernandez. But I do love my Mr. Brown, but it is just Toni Hernandez.
Oh. Hey, well, will you move the microphone closer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You got it, girl.
So just to intro before we start, I want to say thank you to our sponsors. First up, Goliath Flores, best local musician in town. He's got a
girl.
flamenco guitar. He's got a mariachi band. You can check him out at goliathflores.com. And if you've seen him and you forgot about him, you haven't seen him in a while, we had a couple kids and maybe that's why. He's fine. You haven't seen him out as much, but he's still here and you can hire him. And me, I'm a therapist in private practice and you can find me at infiniteselfhelp.com, and I use internal family systems and attachment theory. And if that sounds intriguing at all, give me a call and ask questions. I got my master's at UNF. Local.
UNF.
So, my guest here today, I met her at a rethreaded pop-up party. No way, it was the Southwest Airlines.
You gotta tell the story though, because I love the story.
Okay, so they just did their partnership with Southwest Airlines,
So
and I was
amazing.
trying on the jewelry. So amazing.
So amazing.
I wanted to try on the jewelry, and I wanted to try on the one. They were all like on the whatever. They were on the little pieces of paper.
Yeah, like they were displayed, and you were trying to get it unhooked so that you could put it over your neck.
Right.
And then I just came over and I was like, "Here, I got you, girl."
Yeah.
And so I think that was like our first meeting. Like that was our first moment. Our souls they just touched each other.
She reached over and grabs the necklace and puts it on me, and I just felt so cared for, and I felt your warmth and your energy, and I was like, thank you. This is good. I just love when I meet people that have that energy of openness.
I love, Patricia, that's so awesome because I sense energy. And I also sense I sense energy, and I know like when there's like this negative energy around me, I'm very, very like sensitive to it. And I would say like, first of all, that rethreaded event was so magical to have, my girl Kristen, shout out to Kristen, and that team at Rethreaded to have this partnership with Southwest Airlines. We were there for the kickoff. And when I met you, well, I had not met you, but I said, I got this girl. There was like this openness about you, and your energy was so infectious, like in that moment, that I walked away. And then when we were introduced formally by Ellen, another amazing woman in Jacksonville, I was like, of course I should know this woman. It was like an instant connection, and I did not cease it in the moment, which I do. Like I should have been like, hey, what's your name? There's something about you.
Yeah.
And I didn't. And I think that was like a learning for me. And I was like, wait, I actually just met her 10 minutes ago and I digged her.
And then she walks up and we're like, oh yeah, we're friends. But it was a learning moment.
I think we say we're besties. I think we're like, we are besties from here on out.
I was like, I'll claim that. But it was a learning moment for me too, because I felt that warmth and that energy exchange as well, but I didn't know that you felt it too. So just that validation that, when you feel things, discerning between what's real, because that's getting into another conversation, but learning into learning to feel your intuition and know that it's real and trust it and
Totally. Just go in it. Go, like, we are probably going to get into that. And I don't think it's a different conversation. I think we're actually going to talk about that later, about how how do we move past fear. And it's really just about trusting. It's about trusting the process. And I'm learning that more than ever in the last 3 years, trusting the process. And I am 100% certain that had I said to you, what's your name? Like, I totally dig you. And I've told people, I'm like, I like you. I don't know you, but I want to be friends with you. They give it right back. They give it right back to me. And it's like the best.
Yeah.
You would have done the same thing. So,
yeah. Yes, I would.
Yeah.
So let's tell our listeners who you are. So I was really excited then, because then when we formally met, like 20 minutes later or an hour later, I learned that you are Toni Hernandez Brown, and
It's okay.
Toni Hernandez. And I recognized your name. I'd pulled up your website before. I'd followed your Instagram, and I was like, oh my God, Leading Ladies 904. You're famous.
Listen, Patricia, you gave me like an Oprah moment. And I actually went home and I told my husband that, my sister, I was like, it was like the coolest thing. She was like, oh, you're Toni Hernandez, Leading Ladies 904. And I was like, God, that's what Oprah feels like. And I'm like, that was a really awesome moment. Listen, and I checked you out and I was like, Make Jack's Weird. I had just come across this, maybe I think like a week before that. And I was like, this is interesting. And listen, I also know that's not weird. I mean, I believe that like the universe conspires to bring us close to the people we're supposed to meet. So,
I believe that too.
Yeah.
Which is totally weird in the good way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love, you know, I'm grateful for you and for Goliath to sponsor this, because I mean, this is such it's so great for you to have, you know, local people come and talk about what's happening and what they're doing and all that good stuff. And I have just a funny story. When I moved here from Philadelphia, my husband really wanted to show me that Jacksonville had lots to offer, right? Like lots to offer. I mean, literally, like we would be going over a bridge on a motorcycle and he always puts his arms out like to show me like, this is all I brought you. And I remember, I vividly remember hearing Goliath play and Kurt said, see, look, we've got some culture.
Yes.
And I remember just thinking like, oh, like just the Latin flavor, the sound of Spanish music. I was like drawn. I was like, okay, like, all right, Jacksonville has some really cool stuff. So it's so beautiful. Like this comes full circle for me. And that, you know, that's your partner. And I'm like, oh yeah, like that's one of the reasons why I love this city, was that I got to hear this man sing with an incredible voice, and he spoke Spanish. He sang in Spanish, and to know like there's a connection between you and him. Now it's like, so it's all meant to be.
And I created the sticker a couple months. I created this sticker like right before I met Goliath, and right before, obviously I was, everything you just said, I was very excited that he exists. And when I heard his music, I was freaking out, and just very happy. And then it was kind of a dream come true. That he was single and interested. I was like, oh, me.
Oh, that's so good.
My Cinderella story.
That's so good. I we'll get into this. I'm sure we'll get into this because we'll be talking about Leading Ladies 904. And I believe that, you know, love is a catalyst for greatness. Like having someone in your life that really supports you and dreams big with you and sees your potential and is like your number one fan is such a beautiful component to creating really amazing success. And you know, my husband's that for me. So we'll talk a little bit deep. We'll go deeper about, you know, just if we want to create really big shit, and you're in a relationship, that person needs to know like that the woman he has is not playing small. Yeah. And you ain't playing small, girl. You are not playing small.
I know. And I think it's scared Goliath a little bit sometimes. He's like, you're doing what?
Yeah.
But, okay, before we started recording, we kind of started talking about my process in creating this podcast. So I really appreciate you as a cheerleader for me. Because I'm a person that feels like I need extra support because I feel like I've just worked so hard to get past my blocks and limitations and fears and just having a trauma history growing up and like really overcoming that. And because the fear kind of paralyzes you. Yeah.
Yep.
And I thought I was ready to create this podcast. I wanted to create it 2 years ago. And I really thought I was ready. And then I started recording a couple months ago, and I was shocked at how terrifying it was because I really thought I was ready, Toni.
Yeah.
So it was hard. And so the interviews weren't going exactly how I totally wanted because I had the fear in my body that I was still working with. And so they would come out. So some of them, I've done 3. So the first one, I had a lot of fear, and I think the interview is good, but it was hard. And I didn't get to be vulnerable and deep enough and showcase the other person enough as much as I wanted to either. So it was good, but good. I don't want good. I want great. I don't want vanilla. I want dark chocolate with sprinkles and a cherry on
with
top.
Chocolate jimmies and peanut butter and
so speak to that. Speak to that.
Well, look, Patricia, I would say that what I'm learning, and I actually see this in a lot of women that I coach, is like there's this expectation that we're going to be ready one day.
Yes.
We're going to be ready. Like,
Yes.
let me just, and the reality is that all you were doing is just putting shit off. We're going to put it off. We're going to put it off.
Right.
Because we think that ready looks like a certain kind of way. And this is truly like perhaps one of the biggest learnings in my life is that we're never going to be ready.
Yeah.
And we become ready as we move through the process. There's so much that you're going to learn. You learned a lot in the first interview. You're going to learn a lot in the second, you're going to learn in the third, the fourth. I think we get better at it. And you know, if you're going to wait until you're ready, then you're not going to create anything.
I know.
Because fear is a real thing.
Yeah.
Fear is a real thing. Fear
Yeah.
stops so many people from creating.
Right.
In fact, one of my favorite quotes, and I'm going to chop it up so bad. I'm going to chop it up so bad. It's this quote that it's talking about like taking that first step. You know, taking the first step to write a book, taking the first step to write to start a podcast, taking that first step to I don't know, start saving money, whatever it is that your goals and aspirations are, and that so many people are afraid to take the first step. That the richest place on earth is the graveyard, because that's where books that were never written are. That's where
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
You know, podcasts that were never launched, ideas that were never launched, you know, whatever it is. And that really stuck with me. That really stuck with me. So I live my life this way. I'm like, I'm going to get started even if I'm not ready, because the journey of learning is actually the beauty in it. And where we're going to go is actually going to be so much sweeter than what you originally thought.
Yes.
Like where your head is going to be so much sweeter. So I tell all the listeners out there, whatever you're putting off, do that shit, because you're never going to be ready. You're never going to be ready. So
and it's
like,
never going to be perfect.
it's never going to be perfect. And there's some days that you're going to feel like that was really good, right? That felt good.
Yeah.
That felt genuine. That felt authentic. Like that moved my soul. For me, that's what I call perfect, right? That's what I would say. That's as close to perfect. And the truth is, I don't like perfection is just too stressful. Like, I'm like, I just want to feel authentic and good and inspired and on fire. And so everything I do, and I would coach anyone, anything you do, just do with all your heart and put your best foot forward. And there's something about that experience that's going to support you for the next experience. So no vanilla. We're not going to do vanilla. We're going to go deep. You know, vulnerability is something that has become very real for me in the last couple of years too. I had received feedback that I wasn't vulnerable. And that really it was like dagger because I thought, I'm like, well, I am vulnerable.
Yeah.
And then I met the queen of vulnerability, Brene Brown, in Vancouver. And I had read a book called Daring Greatly, which, by the way, if you're looking to read some amazing books, Your Daring Greatly is one of the top ones. But I had asked Brene, okay, I've been told that I'm not vulnerable. Like, I don't know what that means. And she's like, if you're wondering what that means, that you're not, like, vulnerability when you feel it. And so I commit to being that because I think there's so much courage and there's so much, it looks like winning to me. And
it's a commitment to feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? Look, I also, and it's the mission of Leading Ladies 904. It's about creating a community, with women who are committed to getting comfortable with being uncomfortable and uncomfortable with mediocrity. And there is so much learning in that space of the commitment of getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. I never want to be fully comfortable because it means I'm not growing.
Right.
I want a little bit of like that nervousness. I want to have like my stomach turning a little bit. Right before I go on stage, I go blank and I'm either standing backstage thinking, oh my goodness, what am I going to talk about? And then when I get on stage, I'm like, okay, that was uncomfortable. And now I know what I want to share. I know what I'm passionate about. And the sad thing is that so many people are paralyzed by this uncomfortable feeling. They're paralyzed by fear. And, and I'm like, it's such a sweet journey. Just do it.
Yeah.
Take fear by the balls and say, you're coming with me. It's another great book, Big Magic, and Elizabeth Gilbert, and she writes a letter to fear.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's your relationship with fear? And I'm like, look, it's going to come along. It's coming with me because I'm going. I'm going to go.
But it has to ride in the back seat.
Totally.
Fear can't drive.
No. It's not even my co-pilot. You're not even, you're like going to be all the way in the back.
Yeah. Maybe the trunk.
Yeah. No, maybe because I need to see you. I need to see what you're doing. I need to see what you're up to. Because in the trunk, fear might be up to some shit that I don't know.
Oh, you've said so much there. So my response to that, thinking back to my story, I believe everything you just said. I believe that with all my heart. And so I stepped up to do this and announced it and started emailing people, contacting people, setting it up. And then I got, my fear was that because it was so scary, I wasn't able to handle the fear. And so fear was driving it. Fear was in the driver's seat.
Right.
Like definitely for the first interview, like my guest was so kind and patient, and because I was scared to hit record, and she just sat there and she was like, it's okay, I'm here. And we had never met. So that was a mistake. So that was a learning. I shouldn't have done it with someone I hadn't met.
I wouldn't say it was a mistake. I would say a shout out to your first interviewee.
Yeah.
Because she was a teacher for you in that process. She was patient and she was kind.
Yeah.
And you were going to have a first. It just happened to be her or him, right?
Yeah.
So thank you, right? You got to be like, thank you to my first
I'm so grateful.
podcast, to my first person. Like, I am so grateful and I'm totally indebted to you because you'll never have another first. Yeah. And the commitment is that you really, really ground down that you have something really important to say. And you've got the technology, right? We're sitting here in your studio, mics in my mouth, we got cameras, we got everything.
Yeah.
You've got the technology, you got everything.
So many people are stopped by that. They're like, oh, I don't have a microphone.
Right.
Or I don't know. I can't just record on my iPhone. Right. The audio won't be good.
Right. And listen, and there's some people that are stopped by, they could have all of this, they could have this setup, and they're still going to be stopped because they're going to say, well, what if I fumble? What if my words don't make sense? What if I'm not as interesting? All this crap.
Yeah.
And the first person was your teacher. I'm pretty excited to see what it's going to be like when you have I'm fourth or fifth. What it's going to be like for your sixth and seventh, because we progressively get better and better, more confident. And you have something really important to say. And you'll have something important to say that only you know how to say it.
Right.
You also have to trust that you've got this beautiful way of connecting with people and pulling out what is special about them and what you want to bring out. What do you want other people in the city to know? So you're just facilitating this incredible experience between people who live in the city and listeners who live in the city or not.
And so taking it to you, the reason I pick out the guests is the city is so big and disconnected and people don't even know what all's going on. Like you can kind of endlessly discover new people and new projects and new things going on because there's so much. Like I was following it with Make Jax Weird for a while before I got too distracted by my kids, but I would get into a place where I thought I knew everything. But, I'm like, okay, I know everything cool. And I know every single cool thing, every cool person's name, but I didn't realize how small my knowledge even was. But so think of the person who's listening who wasn't familiar with you and they're hearing you talk and they're like, who is this woman? She lives here? Oh my gosh, I feel uplifted. I feel excited. I feel jazzed. Like I want to meet because, I'm picking you out to interview because I want more Toni Hernandez's here.
Oh, you're so sweet.
I want more people to, have that warmth and openness and energy and vibrancy. I want to meet vibrancy more often.
Listen, this city has vibrancy. Like this city has such incredible people. I learned this, okay, probably soon after I moved here so I came here from Philadelphia. And I have to tell you, like I missed home. When I first moved here, I really missed home. There just was a comfort. I had an incredible network. I went to school there. I also loved the seasons. I had New York close and DC and all of that good stuff. And I'm in Jacksonville. And so I started doing a little research and I learned that Jacksonville is the second largest city landmass wise in the world, second to Tokyo. Didn't know that. I was just like, oh, wow. So like I live in the largest city in the country.
Right.
Okay. And here's what it really opened the doors. This is what really opened the door for me to really begin to explore why actually Leading Ladies 904 came about. It's that there are incredible women who live in the city and men. I'm not leaving out my men. I'm going to focus on women for this podcast. Maybe we'll talk about men another time. Okay.
Well, yeah, because women need more encouragement and empowerment.
Maybe.
I
think men, I've had people say, well, are you ever going to start a group for men? So look, there's a plethora of talent and vibrancy and creativity in this city. And what I found was that I would meet someone like Kelly Smirnoff, who is one of my favorite people. She's an Iron Woman who actually inspired me to do my first Ironman. And she stood at the start line of Epic Man, which is the distance of 3 Ironmans. She was the only woman at the start line. She was among a bunch of men, and she won that race. And I tell her, I said they should rename it Epic Woman. My point is that I'll meet somebody like Kelly Smirnoff, and then I'll meet somebody like Patricia. Okay, I'll meet somebody like you, and I'll meet somebody like you, say in Avondale. Okay, and then I'll meet someone like Alicia Bauman, who I love, who has this incredible project called With Love Jax. And she lives in the West Side. I don't know if she lives in the West Side, but my point is that you've got this incredible talent of women. And I would say, hey, Patricia, do you know Kelly? And Patricia would be like, no, I don't. Oh, really? Kelly's done a night. She's done that. Or I'll say, hey, Alicia, do you know Patricia? She's the founder of Make Jax Weird. And she would say, no, that's awesome, but I don't know her.
Yeah.
And what I knew was that I'm like, okay, I want to create a platform so that these visionaries can come together.
Yes.
And so that we can sort of bring in like the vast miles and bring it in where you really are connecting that woman and that other woman that I'm like, I'm going to get in my car and I'm going to drive to Orange Park because this woman, I'm inspired by her. She lights my fire. Or I'm going to, you know, drive to the north side, or I'm going to drive to the beach. So it's really about connecting the women in this city. And there's so many women in this city who inspire me. And Leading Ladies 904 was born, and let me just tell you, like, visualize this. I'm in my dining room and I have a huge Post-it on my dining room table. And I knew that I was missing team. Like I worked in an environment where I led teams for years. And, you know, as an entrepreneur, I've launched my own businesses now. And I knew that I started to sort of feel like I miss teams. I miss having teams. And I also knew that there was a calling, like there was this pull of like, something was pulling me towards creating something that women can come together and talk about, you know, strategy and leadership and vulnerability and talk about my kids, or I don't have kids, whatever it is, like just be in real conversation, like no bullshit conversation. You know, talk about like what we're up to, what we're creating. And so I'm in my dining room and I just started writing, you know, leadership and ladies and learning and legacy and love. And suddenly it's like, this is just a bunch of L's. And I'm like, this is kind of strange. And then I just wrote 904 because I'm like, you know, I'm kind of a numbers person. Like I wrote 904 and I'm like, and then I circled. It was like Leading Ladies 904. I was like, that's it. Like that's what we're going to create. Leading Ladies 904. And I'm so proud that it was launched here in Jacksonville. It was launched 2 years ago. And the bigger vision is to launch, you know, Leading Ladies 212 and Leading Ladies 305 and Leading Ladies, you know, 917, and really create these or launch the organization in major cities so that women have like this connection to, or women have a place where they can connect with like the other game changers of the city.
And that it's there, it's set up.
Yeah.
You don't have to create it for.
Right. It's there. And look, I mean, I'm just putting the infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's up to every time that we have a Leading Ladies 904 event or we have a gathering, it's really the energy that you bring into that space and the energy that my friend Kelly would bring into that space and Alicia, that's what makes it, I mean, we are going to create what we wish existed, right? Right. So it's about bringing your whole self into that space. And it's like, look, I don't know where this is going to go, but what I do know is that collaboration is going to ensue. Connection, like no bullshit connection is going to be part of it. I also know authenticity is going to be part of it. Okay. So that's all, you know, like that's my jam. Like, let's connect, let's be authentic, let's collaborate.
And I love it. I love the piece that I saw in your email tagline about making Jacksonville the hub for women entrepreneurs. Oh, because that is, I mean, that's a
like
big
a juicy
idea.
Part. Oh, that's so exciting. So
because the potential is there, the opportunity is there. Because Jacksonville basically is a big opportunity on the map of the country right now.
It is.
And whoever can come in and take it, it's there. Right.
It's like, you know, that's a great point, because having come from a major city and then coming to a city that you know, there are some things that perhaps don't, you know, maybe they don't exist here. I know that what I want to create here, I want it to be authentic to Jacksonville. And there's having come from a place where there's so much that is created. I mean, you know, anything you can imagine, it's somebody's creating it. Here, it's like you still have a kind of a sort of a canvas to create. And there's so many visionaries. I mean, there's so many visionary women and men here. Yes. So the goal is that we make Jacksonville, Florida, the U.S. entrepreneur hub for women by 2020. And I want a little girl in Seattle. I want a little girl in Seattle, a little girl in Jacksonville. I mean, a little girl in Chicago, a little girl in Miami, in New York City, in Idaho. I want little girls all over the country or the world to say, when I grow up, I want to move to Jacksonville, Florida, because that's where the most entrepreneurial, the most powerful, the most collaborative, the most creative women live.
Yeah.
So I want it to be the Silicon Valley of entrepreneurship. And every time that I meet people like you, Patricia, I'm convinced that we've got sort of the army. We've got
the army's
tribe.
here.
We've got the tribe to make that happen because we're already doing that. So I think we were like number. I'm so like I'm telling you, I'm fixated on this because I think I read like the top 20 entrepreneurial cities, and I think I want to say we were like number 17 or something the last I checked. So I'm like, look, that's awesome.
And one of the top cities to move to,
right?
Because it is that canvas, and it's still affordable, and it's not. There's room on the campus. You can come here and paint.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And speaking of painting, the other woman I was thinking about is Jessica Santiago, who is the founder and the visionary of Art Republic. And that really, I would tell you, like, Jessica's vision really it makes my heart big, because having grown up in Chicago and having gone to school and lived in Philadelphia, murals was a part of my life. Like, I'd walk to the gym and there's art everywhere. And it wasn't until I was in Jacksonville or it wasn't actually until I went back home. I think it was like Christmas, or I don't know, maybe there was work involved. And I was walking I was walking somewhere, and I remember just looking, and I'm like, oh wow, like, yeah, art has, murals have been such a big part of my life, especially because I lived in this inside, in inner city Philadelphia and Chicago, that I thought that's so amazing that there's someone who's really passionate about bringing art and painting our city colorful, and bringing world-renowned artists here. And
it's totally thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
It's a crazy idea.
Yeah.
That was made into reality.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it was crazy. I would say that for some people, it seemed like it was impossible.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's what I mean by it.
Yeah. She was just like, no, we got walls that need paint, and we've got amazing artists in the world, and artists need to be employed. And we have an incredible, group of women who I'm getting connected with, who are artists, and these are the people who are going to change the DNA of the city. Yeah,
and it sounds so logical when you lay it out. Toni,
that's you.
Oh, I'm just stepping out of my fear. Like, no. And also, I don't know if I told you this. So when I made the Make Jax Weird stickers, I made them anonymous. For the purpose that anyone could project themselves onto it. And it wasn't a woman that made them, or it wasn't a white person that made them, and anyone could see the message and think the message was for them.
It's kind of smart.
Yeah. So that was the smart part about it. And then, but then the other part about it is that I was scared and I was hiding too. But I did like being the superhero. Or like the secret.
You were like the secret sauce nobody knew about.
Well, it was fun.
Patricia, you bring up a great point, right? You're like, look, there was something exciting about creating something that had anonymity. There was sort of this heroism attached to it that you're like, if you see somebody, with it either in their car, or I think we talked about like on a book bag, you'd be like, I created that. And I love that idea, because I remember when you first told me this, I thought that's why ideas need to be acted upon, because someone else, this idea like tapped you and was like, okay, like I'm here for you. And if you don't seize the opportunity, I'm going to go somewhere else. The other point that you bring up is like, you're like, I also didn't want anybody to know that it was me. Right. So what you have is awareness, right? You have this awareness that fear was behind it. And at some point you stepped forward and you said, look, I created this, and it's not about taking credit. It's saying, yeah, I created this, and I'm really proud of having had this idea, right? Taken the time to cultivate and nurture it. And now it's like on the back of a car, like a book bag, or like on a skateboard, or in a storefront. And it's because you made the decision, like you made the choice to say, okay, got this. Let's put it forward.
Yeah. So like,
but I have to tell you, because you know, I had this incredible dinner in my house again with like these like three amazing women, and it was, and this is connected, you know, talk about ideas. This is actually really great. Like I'm trying to figure out how to, okay, talk about ideas. And you were part of this too. I woke up one day, probably 2 weeks before Christmas, and felt so inspired. It was a Saturday. Felt so inspired. And all I kept thinking was Tribe 25. Right? Tribe 25, right? Mm-hmm. And I thought, okay, what is this? Why am I thinking about this? And I'm like, okay, Tribe 25. And I know that it's the end of the year. And Leading Ladies Under 4, we had just finished a campaign where we were highlighting women who were impacting the arts and culture in our community. And another woman who just creates big impact is Alicia Summers. She had, so I asked people for a profile, and she had said, look, I added this, but I don't know that it makes sense. And anyway, if you can figure it out and like share it. And I was like, girl, if it's important to you, it's going to be important to me. Mm-hmm. And her message was, you know, it's the end of the year. She's a big arts advocate. She says, let's really get people to open up their paychecks. I mean, their checkbooks, and write that last check to a local arts organization because it's tax deductible. Do it before the end of the year. So I realized that was part of the inspiration. I immediately crafted a text message and I sent it to 10 women. And within the first 30 minutes, 10 women were like, I'm in. And what I was doing, what I had requested was, I wanted 25 women to donate $25. Yeah. And I also wanted to get clear on who we wanted to support. And without a doubt, and it made so much sense. I wanted for us to support Yellow House, which is Hope McMath's incredible project. And so when I'm talking about ideas, I could have just woke up and be like, oh, you know, I don't know. I mean, this is how fear operates. Well, I'm not going to ask people for money. And I know this feeling, because I'm like, that's weird. I don't like asking people for money. And it was in that moment that I was like, I'm going to send this out. If they say no, I'm going to ask the next person, because the goal is to have 25 women to say yes. Patricia, I'm not kidding you. The day before we were presenting this to Hope and for Yellow House, I received the 25th woman who said, please count me in. And the message that I got from women all over was like, this is an incredible idea. Please count me in. Love that you're doing this. It was it was a reminder to really run with those spurts of inspiration, those moments that we have something that just really resonates with our heart and our soul, and say, I'm going to go with this, and I'm going to run with it, and I'm going to see what happens. So my whole point of this is that we have this dinner and we present Hope with 25 women having donated $25. And my heart swelled just thinking about how women support women. Like empowered women empower women. It's probably one of my, hello, hi.
Child
hello, little one. That actually reminded me, remember when there's like a senator with a kid like comes rolling in, and then they're like, oh, he's trying to like pretend the kid's not there. And I'm like, just take a moment, like be human. Anyway, we're digressing now. But what we were talking about was
women supporting women.
And just, having these ideas and like running with it. And, to the Tribe 25, I still have to figure out a way to like properly express my gratitude. Because what each and every one of you, because you were one of them, taught me in that moment was, when we're up to shit that's bigger than ourselves, people respond to that. We all want to live, we all want to leave the world better. We all want to leave the world better. So Ralph Waldo Emerson is one of my favorite authors. He says, to leave the world better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or redeemed social condition, that is to have succeeded. And it's like, look, however you leave this world better, do that. And sometimes they come in the form of ideas, and don't let fear get in the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I want to tell you a story now that you don't know. So after,
that I don't know.
So after like feeling that energy from your idea for the Tribe 25, so about a week after that, coming back to Rethreaded, I got an email from Kristen Keene of Rethreaded. It was like,
did you know that today, I love this, today is National,
it's Human Trafficking Awareness Month.
Oh, it is. Okay, I thought it was like today.
Yeah.
I meant to
Today
wear my
might
scarf,
be.
but I didn't. Oh
yeah, you're supposed to wear the scarf. She asked people to wear the gray scarf on Fridays in the month of January.
Good.
Yeah.
I'll wear it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But I got an email from her that they were almost at the point of having $1 million in revenue.
I know.
And being $1 million company for 2017. So she's like,
that.
please, like, I mean, I'm like really pushing, anything you can, like, how amazing would it be for Rethreaded to be $1 million company? I can't believe it. And when I got that email, I felt excited.
Yes.
And then
I know I was the recipient of that text message. It was great.
I felt excited. And then I felt, so you do know the story because then I texted you.
You texted me, but I want to know, like, how did the idea?
Then I felt small.
Why?
Because my bank account didn't have a lot of money in it, and I didn't feel like I could make any impact myself. And I even thought about how you were asking women for $25, and even like me giving $25 by myself felt like a painful stretch.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remembered your thing you did with community and bringing it together. And then I felt inspired, and I was driving home and I was hit with inspiration, like so strongly, and excitement again. And I was like, this is great. And the energy's swinging back up, and I pulled over my car. And I'm like, I'm going to text 25 of my friends right now. Because, and then, I could make, my little small donation in just total joy.
Yeah.
And also inviting, I asked 25 of my friends to text 25 of their friends.
I thought that was brilliant. I was like, this girl took it a step further. Amazing.
Because then that would be $16,000.
Oh my goodness.
If everyone did it. And I was just, that was the feeling like, oh, I have an idea. And if I act out my idea, which is simple, even though I feel small, I could raise $16,000 for Rethreaded.
All because you acted, right?
Yeah.
You acted on this like jolt of inspiration.
Right.
And look, I believe that energy begets energy, right? Inspiration begets inspiration. The Tribe 25 was born because Alicia Summers when we highlighted her during the Arts and Culture campaign on Leading Ladies in 04, that was something that was really important to her. She's like, just really, just letting your readers know, or your followers know, that every dollar counts. And if they can donate $20 at the end before 2017 and they can write it off, let them know. Right. And I know that was the inspiration. I woke up and I was like, oh, Tribe 25. Oh yeah. It's like, like let's really rally. Let's rally behind a local art organization. I knew immediately that it was Yellow House. The idea to text 25 women to donate $25 then is what lit that fire in you. Then you took it like that was genius. You were like 25 friends, text 25 of your friends. That's how we, I really believe that's how we change the world.
Yeah.
And it starts with one person though. Mm-hmm. Right? It starts with one person.
And there has to be that connection there, like that authentic connection for people to feel the energy and
Right.
and act and bring it forward.
Look, and what you're paying forward is the energy, right? If someone says no, it's not. I don't, it's okay. Some people can't, and I understand that. And I believe that I'm surrounded in the city. The city, again, going back to like the incredible women that live in this city. We're just a hell yeah for rallying behind one another. We are. We're just a hell yeah. Like when someone tells me, like, I mean, and I get this often, like, Toni, you need to know what this person's doing. You know, that's actually how highlighting the women who were on the cover of Jacksonville magazine came about. I was up in the mountains on a beautiful cabin retreat with my husband, and I was reading Braving the Wilderness, Brene Brown, and I received text messages like, have you seen the cover? Have you seen the cover of Jacksonville magazine? There are, I believe it's 11 women who are on the front cover, and they're the drivers of the arts and culture in the city. You really want to see this. And then I came home, and there was a magazine in my doorstep. Picked it up, and I was like, I want to continue the conversation. And that's how we had the arts and culture campaign, like Women Who Impact, and reached out to the women who were on the cover and said, we want to continue the conversation. I want people to know more about you.
Yeah.
Like, what makes you tick? Like,
right.
What do we need to know that we don't know? That's always a great question for me. Like, what's something that nobody knows about you? Like, actually, I'm going to ask you.
So what's something that nobody knows about you, Toni?
Tell me something that you would not, like, I don't know, because I wouldn't know to ask it. Such a great question to ask people because it just opens up dialogue. And it's not like the same shit. Like, what do you do? And where are you from? Like, so I'm going to ask you, what's something that I don't know about you and is so cool about you, but I don't know it because I would not know to ask it?
Do you know I lived in South Korea for a year?
No.
And I was in the army.
Well, good thing you were not in North Korea. Yeah, so you're in South Korea. You were in the army?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I lived in South Korea for a year, and I played the flute. I was in the army band.
Wow.
See?
Yeah. I love that. I love that.
So, I'm just checking my cameras. You're frozen on my camera. Wait, you're kind of moving. Now you're moving.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's probably fine. Yeah. So I have lived in other countries and traveled, and I never did want to live in Jacksonville. I think a lot of people live here and they didn't plan on living here. So, I mean, that is a lot of the force of the energy behind my wanting to be an inspiration or a leader or a change maker. I see more, I want to highlight the cultural aspects, the multicultural aspects. I want to highlight the diversity in Jacksonville and bring it to light. And showcase it. And I want more of it. I'm from the South. I'm from Georgia. And there's a history of not so good things here that's still present. You know, you still see kind of segregation, and like it's easy for me to just sit in the white community and not see anything else. It's easy for things to stay culturally bland.
Yeah. I love that you, it sounds to me like you really get white privilege. Like you get,
oh my God, yeah.
You get what that's about.
Yes. Yes. I say that, I discovered I was racist in 2013.
You did? Wow.
I was reading a book. I was getting my master's degree in counseling, and they want us to know about white privilege, of course, and not be bigoted mental health counselors. I'm using extreme language there, but I didn't know that racism was something that was even in my head. because it's this subconscious. It's this white privilege stuff. It's this subconscious, subtle thing that's just programmed into us. Not just in the South, but I feel it more strongly in the South. You know, my mother was in school. It was segregated. Here's something you don't know about me. My grandfather, my great-grandfather, was proudly in the KKK and brought my dad to a meeting when he was a child. And then my dad said he didn't want to go back.
Mind-blowing, girl. I'm going to tell you my again, it was born and raised Chicago, then Philadelphia, and I'm living in I just want to say this. I love living in Jacksonville. I really do. I fucking love living here. It's such an incredible city. There's incredible people. I love the beaches. I love bridges. There's just opportunity. It's like a canvas. And I just love the people I meet here. And you're right. I didn't plan on living here. I actually say I moved here for love. I moved here for love and love. My mom she was battling breast cancer. And then I went on a blind date, and it so happened that I ended up marrying the man who I went on a blind date with. I'm sending him a shout out because that is my boo all day. That's my ride or die. So, and I will say, look, now I'm living in Jacksonville. I was doing laundry. I remember this. Oh my goodness. I was doing laundry, and I had the news on. I just had it on. I had the TV on for noise, which I don't normally, but it was on for noise. And I stopped in my tracks because I heard this, Patricia. It said, and I'm gonna just do the accent because it's appropriate. I'm doing laundry. I hear this and I stop and I'm like, what? The person on the TV goes, America, the lions are taking over. And I was just like, what? Oh. And I looked and it was the KKK in the Hunter.
What?
And I was just like, wow. And I thought, awesome. Like, I'm glad that you know that we're taking over.
Crazy.
But it was wild. It was wild. Yeah. I need to circle back to something because I just realized that the reason why I was telling you about this dinner with the Tribe 25 was because we started talking about Make Jax Weird. And we talking about you, and I was talking about like how I think you had just been in my house maybe a week or a couple of days before that, and I was just like energized and like I love this girl. And when I shared with them what Make Jax Weird was like from your perspective, they were like, "Oh, that's what it is."
Right.
And I think that you need to explain it.
Yeah. And that's so another big. It was anonymous at first, right? And a big piece of that was that people could take their own meaning from the sticker. And that was important to me at the time. Mm-hmm. And I knew what it meant to me, but I liked that it was art and open to interpretation. And I don't think I've ever made art before. Mm-hmm. I have, of course, but not publicly. And I do consider this sticker to be art, street art.
Yes. And which, by the way, I need one before I leave.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you some.
Yeah.
I'll give you a vintage green one.
Oh, I love that. But here's what I wanted you to talk about quickly because it really resonates with the mission of leading ladies. It resonates with my own way of living. It's that it's real no bullshit connection, right? I don't like small talk, right? I want to talk about shit that matters. And you were saying how, Make Jax Weird was about. It's essentially about moving through the uncomfortable, right? Mm-hmm. It's about, when you're talking to somebody, give eye contact, right? When you're talking to someone, like it's okay, like if you touch them, like don't like get into that space of like being in it with people. Mm-hmm. And I remember when you described it, I was like, yeah, because you know what? People consider that weird.
Yes.
People consider that weird. I do this cool exercise and it wasn't my idea. It's from the development work that I've done in the past. And it's where I line up strangers and, let's say that there's 20, there's 10 strangers facing 10 strangers, and they're very close. I'm talking about their feet might even touch toe to toe. I mean, they are close face to face. And the exercise is without talking, right? Without uttering a word, commit to locking eyes and give eye contact for 3 minutes.
Oh.
And let me tell you, for some people, that 3 minutes is the longest 3 minutes of their lives.
Yeah.
And people have told me, they've said, I can't fucking stand that exercise you do.
Yeah.
I've had people say, I had a woman say to me, she was actually crying and said, what it made me think about is that I've been married for 30 years, 25 or 30 years. She goes, and I don't even know what color my husband's eyes are. I don't remember what color my husband's eye color is. She's like, she goes, because I haven't looked at him in his eyes.
Yeah.
Another woman said to me, the last time that I looked at my son in the eye was when he was a baby. Mm-hmm. I don't look at my children when they talk to me. Mm. And so look, even eye contact, not even eye contact, I would say eye contact is one of the most intimate, like we're doing it right now. Eye contact is one of the most intimate, it's like an intimate experience, and it's really letting somebody know, like, I'm present, I'm here, I hear you, I see you,
and I feel like there's so many things I could say there, and it has to do with safety. And I feel like as a therapist, I help people feel safe in the world because they were hurt, or their parents weren't present, and their nervous system just learned that the world's not safe. So you could boil it down to that. And our country is touch phobic. Like if you rank the lovey, touchy, warm feeling countries, like we're not. I don't know what we're ranked. We're low.
I'm like on the extreme. Like I'm gonna get up in your face, but I'm gonna get up in your face. I'm gonna hug you. I'm gonna hold your hand while I talk to you. Yeah. I'm gonna hold your face.
Well,
I'm gonna
like
even hold your face.
You want to work to help people learn, help people get over that fear.
Yeah.
And learn that it's safe and it's okay. And like, because we're living in fear, our culture, our larger culture, society, it's living in fear and disconnection.
So much disconnection.
Brene Brown writes about the disconnection.
Especially with our social platforms, like social media, Facebook, Instagram, everything is designed to make us perhaps more productive, right? We work faster. And I love technology. I really do. I mean, this is why we're talking to people outside of this studio, right? Yeah. I love technology. I'm a proponent for technology. And I will say that I'm a bigger proponent for like human connection. Like, let's not lose that. Like, let's put our phones away and look, we all have that work. My commitment for 2018 is to be less distracted by my phone. If I can say I have had 0 distractions in my phone for 2018, like that's a big win for me, because I want to be present with people. And I want people to be present with me, because there's no better way to say I value you. Like what you have to say is important. Your time is important. Your energy
and just
is
to
important.
be seen.
Yeah.
People want, it's weird to be present and see people. Yeah. And I mean, getting back to the piece about the experience of, I don't know how to get to say where I'm trying to go, but I guess I want to talk about judgment too. And it's the brain's natural process that it wants to sort of categorize people and put them in boxes. And then, I don't know. That's where we're stuck. That's what we're like coming out of. That's our past.
I think it's a defense mechanism. I think it's our way to cope and our way to survive. When you're talking about like your grandfather and your father, and we're talking about, how racism is something very real, something very, very relevant in this city. I can't help but to think of, and I am so plugging Brene. Like Brene, hey Brene, I don't even mean to, but I'm just saying like she's one of my girls. Like I love her books and they speak to me. Braving the Wilderness. She says, and I don't think it's her quote because she quotes somebody, but it's like it's hard to hate someone up close.
Yeah.
right? And so I know this. I would be so open to sit across someone who is a professed yes.
A white supremacist?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I would, because I believe that it's hate.
The only thing that's going to melt that ice is holding space for that person.
Right. And like, I also know like that there's, it's all fear based.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, I just want to know like what happened to you. Like,
Yeah.
Why do you hate me?
Right.
And not because I shouldn't say not because I care, because it sounds kind of harsh, but it's like, it's just hard to keep people close. I'm sure that I really believe I'm 100% sure that we'd hug it out. We would hug it out.
Well, yeah. Anyone with hate, anyone living with hate has a lot of hurt. Mm-hmm. Deep inside.
Yeah, which is very sad because there's so much you're missing out. There's so much you're missing out when you, when you cut yourself off from people because they have a different sexual. I know. What am I saying?
Anything.
Yeah, like a sexual orientation, or you cut someone off because they're of a different background. I'm like, my life is rich because I have gay friends. I have a niece who's transitioning to she's transgender. Well, I should say, he is transitioned. I have, my family is comprised of every shade
right
under the sun. So, and my friends, I'm rich because my friends come from all walks of life.
Diversity is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
so
That's why when I walk
pretty.
into your studio and I see like Mexico, I'm like, I love my Mexican peeps. Like I've been there. It's a beautiful country. And it's so sad that, what has been created is sort of this fear. And
and it's ironic because we've been sold, or like as children we were sold the idea that America is a melting pot, and I don't know, all the cultures are blending together, but I don't know if that ever happened.
Yeah,
or it didn't in Jacksonville.
I think it's melting. I think it is.
Yeah,
I think it is.
Yeah,
I think it is. I think maybe we're just a little bit, the city might be a little bit slower. And look, I think everything happens at like the perfect, at the right time,
right.
I think that, and look, we also have, we have amazing change agents in the city. Like we're going to progress because there is such a community of people who are pushing forward. And that doesn't mean that we don't that we're going to move past, like there's so much to appreciate about Jacksonville. And I also know that there's a lot of potential in the city. So was this vanilla? Was this vanilla?
It was not vanilla.
Okay. Glad.
Thank you.
Because I don't like vanilla. Vanilla's like how's the weather? It's like, oh God, what's about the weather?
I like the actual flavor of vanilla, but I don't like the metaphorically vanilla
I'm with you.
podcast.
I agree. I don't like ice cream, so.
So if you are listening, if you are intrigued, if you want to know more about Toni and her work, how do you want them to find you?
All right, so they can email me. Like it was said, so that's the easiest. LL904. So Leading Ladies 904. It's just the acronym LL904 at ToniHernandezBrown.com.
Okay.
And we also have a Facebook page, which is Leading Ladies 904. For the women out there who want to connect with women who are just like, game changers and badasses, we've got a closed group called Leading Ladies 904 board members. Ooh. And that's my husband calling. Leading Ladies 904 board members. Uh-huh. So all they just have to do is request to join, and they'll be added. And then we also have an Instagram page, Leading Ladies 904. And yeah,
reach out.
Yeah, reach out, connect. Yes, like the more we build this community of badass women, the more we're going to build a community of badass women. And you know what? When badass women get together, like magic happens.
I know. Like Art Republic and Rethreaded.
All of them. Oh my God.
Yeah.
All of them. All of them. So many. So many.
And thank you. Thank you for listening. And at this time, I would tell you what website I want you to go to too, but I haven't decided what it's going to be yet.
To go where?
I want to direct people to my webpage, but I can't decide if I should get makejacksweird.org or .biz.
.org.
Yeah.
Yeah, do .org. That's my take.
I'm not feeling it.
And listen, whatever you do, just do it.
I know,
You're
that's
gonna
what
think over and over. Am I ready? Am I ready to launch this?
I know.
Am I ready? Have I ever done this?
Yeah.
Just get it done. Just do it.
I need to just do it. So go to the show notes and you'll see what website to go to for Make Jacks Weird. Thank you for listening. I'm grateful to you for listening.
Thanks so much. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you for your work. Thank you for connecting me to the community of Jacksonville and beyond.
Amplifying your voice.
Yes. Thank you so much.
That's my goal.
I'm so
and my
grateful.
mission.
I love that you live in this city. And this is why I say Jacksonville has the most incredible women.
Woo!
Because of people like you.
I love you. Thank you.
I love you too.
Thank you for seeing me.
I love you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.